All right, let's talk about chocolate, or more accurately, what you think is chocolate. Because that candy bar you grab from the checkout line, that sweet, milky thing, it has about as much in common with real cacao as a picture of a steak has with the actual meal. We're about to peel back the wrapper on a history you had no idea existed.
And look, that's just the plain truth. Before it was ever a dessert, the cacao bean was currency. It was fuel for warriors, the literal food of the gods. What you're eating today is really just a sweet, pale ghost of what it used to be.
So yeah, let's just get right into it, because this is where the story starts to get, well, a little bit crazy. Forget about gold coins or dollar bills. Long before all that, there were beans. The very first thing you have to understand about cacao is that it wasn't something you just ate for fun. It was money.
Seriously, in the upper Amazon basin, cacao beans were the economy. You didn't go to a bank, you went to a cacao tree. The whole system was built on these little things. You could buy a whole canoe, a major piece of transportation, for just 100 of these beans.
Or how about this? Just three beans could get you a fresh avocado. We're not talking about some quirky barter system here. This stuff had real, established purchasing power. Every single bean was incredibly valuable.
And just like with any valuable currency, it didn't take long for people to start trying to game the system. So this amazing plant-based economy had its very first market glitch: counterfeit money.
And the way they did it is it's brilliantly simple. People would literally take empty seashells, carefully pack them with mud, seal them up, and then just let them dry until they looked and felt almost exactly like a real cacao bean.
I mean, that is just completely insane when you think about it. Can you even imagine trying to buy your groceries today with a carefully crafted, mud-filled shell? The hustle, my friends, is eternal.
So this stuff was so precious that people were making fakes out of mud. But if they weren't just snacking on it, what were they actually doing with it? Well, for starters, they were drinking it. And this was absolutely not your cozy cup of hot cocoa.
The original drink made from cacao was called chocolate, and in the Aztec language that literally translates to bitter water. Believe me, they were not joking about the bitter part. It was powerful, it was potent, and it was anything but sweet.
Yeah, this was not a drink you gave to the kids. This was high-octane fuel, and it was reserved for rulers and for warriors right before they went into battle. They'd grind up the beans and mix them with stuff like chili peppers or cornmeal to give it an extra kick. So forget dessert. This was a pre-battle energy drink. And then everything changed when the Spanish explorers showed up. They got the whole cacao is money thing right away. They saw the economic power. But the drink, they absolutely could not stand the taste. So they decided they were going to fix it.
So when the Spanish brought cacao back to Europe, they gave it a complete rebrand. They took out all the chili and just dumped in piles of sugar, honey, and cinnamon to completely mask that intense bitterness. And just like that, it went from being warrior fuel to an exclusive sweet treat for the European elite.
And that really is the story. This incredibly powerful currency, this fuel that powered an entire civilization of warriors, got turned into a sugary, cheap knockoff of itself. We basically lost the original and settled for a much sweeter, but way less interesting imitation.
But here's the thing. That original power is still locked inside the bean, and that makes you think about cacao in a totally different way. I mean, what if the power grid goes down for good? What becomes truly valuable then?
In a real collapse scenario, the cacao bean suddenly becomes king again. It's the perfect survival currency. It's portable, it's packed with energy, and it lasts forever. It's loaded with calories, and it's also a luxury item you can trade. It's food and money all in one little package.
And if you want to understand how valuable that is, just compare it to another survival powerhouse like the winged bean. That's a wonder crop where you can eat every single part of the plant. Cacao is in that same elite class of plants that are also critical survival tools.
So let's just be honest for a second. In a real crisis, what would you rather have? A wallet full of paper that could be totally worthless tomorrow? Or a handful of the food of the gods that can literally keep you alive and maybe even buy you a boat?
Which brings us right back to where we started. We took a global currency that fueled empires, a high-octane drink that powered warriors into battle, and we turned it into a 99-cent impulse buy at the gas station. A single seed that was once valuable enough to help buy a canoe is now just a cheap snack. Now that's absolutely wild.